there. Good morning. It's Friday, April 14th. I am not at the beach. I am actually still in Monroe Township, New Jersey. But I wanted to quickly get a podcast out for you. So today's not going to be taxes like I promised yesterday. I am going to basically just do a recap and some questions. But a big one that I was noticing yesterday, I was talking with my dad about it, Netflix, we talked about it covering a gap, and that gap was around 350 from what I remember. Let's pull this one back. If we go back here, yep, there's the gap up to 345. Well, it covered it once, covered it twice. You could have gotten it just under 300, right about there. And, of course, the algorithm got you in at 301 on March 15th. You're still in that play. This one, the algorithm loses you 22% over a 2-year period, but you lose 40% if you had just bought and held this stock. So it's been a good one to trade. Your average win is 11%. It's been a great trade. Your earnings are coming up on April 19th, but I wanted to look at that one and tell you just, hey, it's a good trade if you got this one under 300. I don't think you necessarily need to sell. I think you could take profits if you got it under 300 because I do think that we will be going back to under 300. Another one that is a personal favorite, Solar Edge, which is SEDG. Solar Edge, talked about it, buying it under 200, under 300, and selling it over 300. Well, here, 293.53. You're still in this one. Yesterday's high was around, I want to say, around 310 today. So you're still up there. I think if you buy this under 300 and just sell it over 300, I think you're doing well. That's a great one. There was a discussion about KOLD and BOIL yesterday on the private Facebook group. My personal opinion is you use the 65-minute algorithm on this one to try and trade it. But if you're looking at just KOLD, right now KOLD on the 4-hour has that ascending wedge. So you're still within it. If we just bring this down here, you can see you're still in this one. KOLD has, don't fight the trend. Do not fight the trend. If we go to the 65-minute algorithm on this one, you're still in this one, 74.94, and you're at 84. Don't try and time it. I don't think that that's a smart move. But if you want to do the 65-minute on BOIL, it still hasn't given you a trigger. It's still below that 9-day. So I'd be ultra careful. Yes, I think BOIL is going down to $2. It is $3.02 right now. I don't think it has any support. Knowing that what the intelligence report says that the U.S. thinks the Ukrainian war will go into next year means we have another winter where Russia could potentially drive up the price for natural gas. So I don't think the BOIL trade is over, but right now it's definitely KOLD. dman wanted me to look at Generac. There's a couple of them that he wants me to look at. GNRC. And if you don't know Generac, they are a natural gas and battery backup option for your house. For generators. Generac is, D-Man says, Generac is looking great, not being in the energy or knowing energy this play. I grew to like this for the diversity into energy. Technicals look good. MACD cross up on the daily. 4-hour, 6-hour. RSI very low on the daily. Hedge funds have been loading up on as well. That's true. I looked into that. It's a product sold in every Home Depot as a service connect service. Going into 2023, services are strong, stagnant. But this is the time to grab this great company of the future around more 100 if possible. Well, I'll take a look at it. But essentially, D-Man thinks that this is a good one. He has been just spot on with a number of his plays. His issue is not making money. His issue is selling them when they do make money. Here's my take on Generac. My brother just built a beach house. He put in a generator as a backup, natural gas. He went with another brand. I don't know the brand that he went with. But in my mind, I do think that this has some pretty significant competition. These are the Teslas of generators. So it is the creme de la creme. It is the most expensive. It is one that I think is a good one to probably buy. The problem is the valuation. So 102.52 is and dman is right. The RSI is down at 44. It's in no man's land. MACD is crossing up. Just crossed up at 102.52. If we go to what I'd like to do is take a look at a weekly, because this was 100% a pandemic play. You can see in 2020, when we hit March 2020, this one went from 80 all the way up to $462. You are trading at $100 right now, GNRC. And people say, well, it couldn't go much lower, but their PE is 19. Their forward PE is 12. They have no dividend. Year to date, they're up 2%. For 1 year, they're down 61%. The average target price is 141. There are just downgrades galore in March. So I wouldn't expect, again, you don't want to time this one. I just don't think. You can see sales all the way through around the 200s, 100s. I don't think the directors know where this stock is actually going. I don't think that they know what a good PE is for. Remember, average on the S&P is around 17 to 18. But if they have to bring down their earnings, that PE is going to go up. So is Generac just kind of stuck here? Well, you can see kind of, look, it's below its 9-day. It just doesn't have a lot of confirmation. So rather than try and time it, I would say hold off on it. If you look in 2019, this was a $50 stock. And then essentially in May of 2019, all the way to January, it doubled. And then you had the pandemic, and then boom, it doubled again. Oh, and then it went 4 times. So it's dealing with probably a significant long-term hangover. My guess is if it's coming back, I think you're coming back down to this 50. I think it took a breather here, kind of went up from the December 2022 all the way to February 2023. This is a weekly chart. If we go back to let's do a monthly and take a look at Generac, you're kind of seeing just it's on its downside, and it's just got no look at the volume level pop up when it gets down to a certain level. And so that I think that level is 100, but I would have some pretty tight stop losses on there, because I do think 50 is a fairly decent support level for it. He also wanted me to look at Sony, and everybody knows Sony. I mean, the Walkman. If you're old school like me, you know the Walkman. Sony on the 4-hour, the RSI is down. Their earnings are coming out April 27th. You're in this at 88, 86. You're trading at 90 right now. I don't think there's, the RSI is a little bit high. We're not seeing a huge amount. I'm seeing a ton of gaps below this. There's one gap above this at about 92. It wouldn't get me kind of to go into this one. I think it's just a little bit extended. PE is 16. They have a 0.58% dividend. Year to date, they're up 20%. You can see year to date, it's just been going really, really well. This is a technology company, consumer electronics. The last coverage was from Goldman. The average target price is 123. You're trading at 90. So the upside is significant. I don't see any insider transactions. But nothing, again, if I'm in consumer electronics, I'm in Apple. I just think Apple is so much better. And I think if you can get Apple under the 160 price, I think that's the one. Let's talk about bank earnings. PNC was the one that I actually read the most on. PNC right now is down 1.7%. It was up in pre-market about 5%. So PNC beat earnings. Their provisions for credit losses are being reduced. Their deposit levels are stable and increasing. Book value per share is $76, which is up 7% from their last earnings call. Trading, it's at 119. I'm sorry, it's at 119. It was at 125 earlier this morning. They expect their share buyback to be reduced. Their commercial business, they said, is only 2.7% of the of their total business, so they won't be affected by the commercial. I only say this because it's a regional bank. If you want to look at bigger banks, We can look at JP Morgan. JP Morgan was up big. Their deposits were huge. They beat in their deposits, indicated they are absolutely 100% safe. Right now, they are up 7% to 138. I think you're going to see this divergence between small and regional banks to the big banks actually being safer. Bank of America is up 20 to 29.37. If you got this one at 27 or 28, you're perfectly fine. Wells Fargo, they beat. This is a big bank as well. This is one that I personally own. I think I own it at about 45. It's trading at 39. Get it under 40. This is not a trade. In my mind, this is a long-term buy. I think you can get this one under 40 and be perfectly fine. Citibank beat. All of these banks were great bets. And we should say shitty bank. Shitty bank beat. The algorithm has you in at 42. You're 48. 42 was way back on March 27th when all of this stuff really kind of flattened out. But 42, you're 48. 48.67, you're up 2.9%. This is a great buy. This is a $60 stock, by the way. In my mind, I think you're at a $60 stock. Their PE is only 6. Their average price target is 56. They have a 4.31% dividend. They're up 7%. You can see most recently, all of these are downgrades. Insider transactions most recently are all sales, but it's around 50. And you're trading at, what, 48? Take it. I think you're close to a $60 stock on this when they start to turn things around. The banks were big bets, and they were good bets. Tesla, on the other hand, they are cutting prices again in several countries, including Germany, Singapore, and others. They're down 1%, 183. You can see it is just stuck in this channel, and it's on the downside of this channel. I do think that there are two gaps here. There is one at 250, which is up here, 262. And then there's one that down here at 150. I think you're on your way down to the 150. Their earnings are coming up next week, April 19th. April 19th, next week, we will find out. The big pivot on this one will be 20% margin. If you are under 20% margin in Tesla, this will go to this gap. If you are above 20% margin in Tesla, you will go to this gap up here at 260. So I think it's key in watching that one. This is one that I need to add back to my position. I sold it in December for some tax loss harvesting. I want to add back to it. I want to get back in. I just haven't found the right price. UNH beat, but it wasn't big enough. I didn't read the details. You can see this candle right here in the morning. You've got a 1.62% candle right now. You're trading at 513. Its lows was 508. Again, if it dips under 500, grab it. I think you can grab it. This is a company, good management, good earnings, a good product. The problem that you have is that it is super expensive in the managed healthcare portion. PE is 24, forward PE is 18. It's got a 1.25% dividend. I am buying this one long term. I think I'm in at 485. One that might be an option for you is Humana. It's a little bit lower on the PE of 24. Its forward PE is only 16. Doesn't have as big a dividend, 0.66. It's up 2% year to date. Over 1 year, you're up 17%. Their earnings, we can take a look at their earnings. Humana. Let's take a look at their earnings date. They are coming up next week, April 25th, so 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. But you can see it's currently in that button hook pattern. In my mind with Humana, I think it's the same as United Healthcare. If it's under 500, buy it. If it's over 500, I think you can sell it. But Humana's average price target is 596. So it's huge. By the way, United Healthcare's average price target is 596. Both of them 590s. So if you want to play one, I think you could play Humana. That's a good one. Boeing. We talk about Boeing. I have one share of Boeing. I think I bought at 208 or something. It's currently at 200. If you can get this under 200, I think you're okay. This one is constantly going between 200 and 220. So you're making your 10% by just trading it. But Boeing, they said their 737, they are going to pause their deliveries on 737 because there's a part that doesn't fit the FAA or something like that. It is what it is. The discussion yesterday about BOIL and KOLD made me look at UCO and SCO. UCO has been the play, and it's still got confirmation. Down here at 23, you're at 30. Still got confirmation above that. It's above its 200-day, so I'd be a little bit careful. Some of the news is that oil is rising based on just shortage of supply. So I think you could play that one, and UCO might be your play. I would trade this on the on the 65-minute. Because it's up there in a button hook, I would trade this on the 65-minute, and right now the 65-minute has you out at 3.63%. By the way, the 65-minute over 8 months makes you 1% versus losing 10% over just that period, buying and holding. So you can see, I do think that there's a range here between 22 and 30. I think that's your range. So if you think that's the range too, you know what? Trade SCO, because SCO on the 65-minute just had a cross up. At 21.81, you're at 21.88. So if you think oil is going to go down, which it could, again, it's a Friday. I don't think I'd necessarily buy and hold, but it could absolutely go down. Let's talk about some scans. I'm going to move this over real quick, and we're going to talk about some scans on the algorithm. This is the 4-hour algorithm where I scan and I look at stocks that show a bullish tendency. Basically, the 4-hour algorithm is written on a MACD cross-up. So PAN-W, which is Palo Alto Networks, we had a cross-up. It's a secondary cross-up. It just got you out, but I think you can see that it is kind of in that button hook. I don't think anything under 200 is a bad play here for PAN-W. You just have to realize it is super, super expensive. The PE is 2,569. It is super expensive. Forward PE is 42. That's even super expensive. Year to date, you're up 40%. I think if you can get this under 200 and you hold it for a year, I think you're perfectly fine. Meta had a cross up. I'm on the 65-minute. That's why it was showing getting out. Meta on the 4-hour had a secondary cross up here at $220. I'd rather be in that 184. I say wait for Meta to get under 200 on that one. GOOG, I think anything under 100 or around 100, it has not dipped below 100 since back here in March 30th, just the end of March. So I think you could get into this one anywhere between 100 and 110. Long term, I think you're absolutely fine, because look at this. If you go to Google, its PE is 22, forward PE of 17. These guys have AI up the wazoo. I think they're fine. We talked about SCO and UCO. SCO has the cross up. It's not showing just yet, but it will probably show down here at 21 on the 4-hour. But I would trade that one on the 65-minute. DRV had a cross up, 49.19. You're trading at $50.29. This is the real estate bear. And the only reason the bear is in there is because interest rates are rising, things are getting done. You could ride this probably for a 4 or 5% gain. Your average win on this on the 4-hour algorithm is 15%. So do not hold on to this one. This is a decaying asset, DRV. Triple levered short Dow just crossed up. It's not showing a price yet, but it does have a cross up here at 25.11. So SDOW is that one. It will probably show after this afternoon. TARK, which is the inverse, two times inverse of the ARKK, $60.44. You're trading at $59.05. This is assuming the ARK funds will go down, which is interesting because ARKK also has a cross up at $39.15. I think if you buy in under 40 on the ARK funds, I think you're perfectly fine. That's ARKK. You could buy in. SMMT. This is one where the CEO bought like $1.5 billion worth of stock. And it was a buy here at 170, got you out. This 150 buy actually got you out with an 8% gain on the 4-hour. I think you could trade this one on the 65-minute. This is one where it's a biopharmaceutical, and so you're really taking the chance on this one. It is super, super risky. Airbnb. ABNB had a cross up. And the price isn't there quite yet, but it will show up this afternoon. Again, if you had Trendspider, you could look at this afternoon and completely see it. The algorithm tells you when to get in and out. So if you have Trendspider, if you sign up for Trendspider, I give you these algorithms. I give you access to the algorithms, the watch lists, all of the scanners that I use, everything. And you could automate your process just with bots if you wanted to. But Airbnb, I think anything under 120 on Airbnb, I think long term, you're looking at a fine. Again, these guys have to grow into their valuation. The PE is 40. The forward PE is 28. Year to date, you're up 33%. The range is between, the 52-week range is between 81 and 174. I think anything under 120 for me, long term, I don't think it's a problem. Some of the Dow stocks that crossed up, HD, Home Depot, we had a secondary cross up. The initial buy here was 283. You're getting a secondary cross up at 292. So Home Depot is a cross up. Marvell, MRVL, Marvell Technologies. This one had a cross up. It's not showing it just yet, but the MACD did cross up. You can see it down here. The RSI is at 47. Probably anything under 40 is a better buy, but I wouldn't rule out it going back to this gap at 44 here. You can see it made a try. It made a Herculean effort to try and get there. I probably wouldn't have sold out thinking that it was going to get there. So I'd probably still be holding on. I think if you hold on, you're fine. It's a good company. The sponsor of my podcast in Mexico is Mercado Libre, MELI. And this one had a cross up here at 1214. That's 1,214. It has a secondary cross up. It's going for another run. Their earnings are coming out May 4th. The RSI is a little high. This one probably anything under 1,200 in my mind. I think you're doing good. This one, by the way, is pretty expensive. The PE is 135. The forward PE is 54. The average target price is 14.24. And these guys have been brought down April 6th to a 1350 price target. You're trading at 1300 right now. I think anything under 1200, I think you pull the trigger. I think anything over 1300, you look at probably selling it. It's just a little bit expensive. It's been on a huge run. Let's see. Year to date, you're up 54%. So if you held this and you're up 54% in the past, 3 months, get out. Get out. Fast and all fast. This is part of the ARK funds, the NASDAQ 100. This is one that just had another MACD cross up right here. It is up 1.5% today, so it's probably going to get you back in. You can see it is just between 50 and 55. Just buy it when it's close to 50, when it's close to this 200-day at 50. It's at 53.15. I don't know that I'd necessarily buy it right here. PDD, Pinduoduo, Chinese company. They have been hurt. I would not put my money into a Chinese company. You can see the MACD is crossing up. Doesn't have a price yet. You've got a gap here between 82 and 90. You're trading at 68. I think you're probably gambling on this one. I would have tight stop losses just because the U.S. and China are just not friends right now, and that's not a good place to be. Even though I think it's okay for companies like Apple, for companies like Nike, I think they're doing fine. I think they're managing that relationship. I think they're transitioning out. But I think something like a PDD, read an article about how the stocks for the Chinese stocks are actually not ownership in the company. It's the Hong Kong stocks that actually are ownership in the company. But the New York Exchange, they're basically just notes that are held in the Cayman Islands. It is illegal for anybody outside of China to actually own a Chinese company stock. So they do this just to basically do it. China could declare it completely illegal, and your investment is absolutely zero. BKNG, Booking Holdings. This one had a cross up. You just got out with a 2% gain. You probably didn't get out. The dollar amount's not there, but the MACD's crossing up. It's a little bit high for me. And finally, EMR, which is Emerson Electric Company. This is a utility. It had a cross up here. The dollar amount isn't there, but their earnings are coming up. This is I think it's the NASDAQ 100. Or I'm sorry, it's the S&P 100. So there are your scans. That's it. I will probably be doing a video. I know I promise these videos all the time, but I want to do a video about the tools that I use, meaning like Trendspider, which again, there's a link down below for 25% off DSP25. I give you the 4-hour algorithm, the 65-minute algorithm, the scans. Those are both strategy testers. I give you my market scanner for both of those to look at the 4 hours. So it tells you the price in and the price out if you want to use that. And the 65-minute, which has been just a tremendous day trading tool. It's been great for anybody that's used it. Anybody that has Trendspider, they've been kind of glowing about the results when you back test. And when it tells you to get in, you can just set up a text alert and you get in. Second sponsor of the podcast. Oh, and the tools that I use FinViz. I use Active Trader Pro from Fidelity. And there's some other websites that I could let you in on. So I'll probably do a video about that, just the tools that I use, how I look at stocks, things of that sort. And I am not an all-knowing person. I am just somebody that has been able to retire based on trading. There's some people that want that. The other video that I really want to do, and I'll probably bring it up next week, is sell in May and go away. There's a lot of talk about sell in May and go away. And just so you know, historically, the summer has not been a good return on stocks. So a lot of people do sell in May, and then they come back in August, September, or October. But getting back in, it's kind of tough. So, yeah, do what you need to do. But sell in May and go away is another one. Okay, sponsors. WEBULL is a sponsor. If you're paying anything more than $30 for your phone bill, go to the link below. It gets you $20 off your first phone bill. I just checked last night. It's basically $25 for the lowest plan, which is what I use. And I have been perfectly happy with the $25 plan. I don't I don't get slowed down. It's crazy. Maybe I'm special, but I don't have a deal with WEBULL. They don't know who I am. I just get $20. You get $20. That's how this deal works. That's how they sponsor me. You get $20 off your first month. So here's what you do. If you have a phone with eSIM, like I think anything over iPhone 12, I don't know about Google Android phones because, I don't like my green bubbles. But if you have eSIM, you can sign up for WEBULL. Just get a new number. Get a number, test it out. See if you like it. Do a test against your current service. eSIM, you can switch back and forth. Test the speeds. If you like the speeds, port your number over. You get the first month is only $5. It doesn't hurt to try. Again, it's just a trial. If you don't like it, just cancel it. It doesn't cost you anything more than $5. So there's your sponsors. I will be back on Monday. If I do a video this weekend, it most likely will be from the beach. It's going to be 80 degrees. I was supposed to drive down there today, but let's just say 80-year-old parents are tough to get out the door. So I had to go get bagels, and there were some things going on. The iPad was being read today. And if you guys have parents, they sit there and they read political news on the iPad and then scream it out at each other. And there's a lot of anger. It's definitely Seinfeld, the Costanzas. So, okay, I will talk to you guys Monday. Have fun. Take care.